What is going on, guys? Daniel Simpson here. In today's video we are going to be talking about establishing credit as a high schooler, or maybe even someone who is 18, 19, 20 years old, however old you are, starting off at a young age. Okay, me myself, I am only 21 years old, but I already do have an established line of credit. I actually have 4 credit cards, okay? And I'll get to that in another video why I have 4 credit cards. But in today's video we are going to be talking about establishing credit in the first place. Now, when it comes to establishing credit, okay, one thing that banks will always look at before giving you a credit card is your credit history. But how do banks trust you if you have no credit history? Okay, and that's what you really need to think about when it comes to establishing credit, because you have to use credit for a lot of different things, like auto loans, buying a house, getting a credit card in the first place. There are a lot of different factors that banks look into, but your credit history is a very important one. So when it comes to being someone younger, maybe you just graduated high school, you're going to college, and you don't have a credit card because you don't have any credit history, what you need to do is find a bank that will give you a credit card. I'm going to go over different ways to go ahead and either get a credit card or establish some form of credit, even if it's not through a credit card. So the first way to establish a credit would be to get what's called a secured credit card. Now, a secured credit card is a credit card basically that you put a deposit down, and whatever the amount you put down as a deposit, that will be used as credit. So you go to your bank, so you give the bank $500 deposit, whatever bank you so choose, and if they offer secured credit cards, you give them $500, and with that $500 they will then give you a credit card with a credit limit of $500. Okay, now this is a great way of building credit or establishing credit in the first place, because then the bank, as you make your payments on your card, you use your card and then you then pay it back, the bank will then send your report on how you're doing with your card over to the credit bureau. Okay, well, there's actually multiple credit bureaus, but they will send it over to the credit bureau to see how you're doing. Now, this is a great way to establish credit, and it also teaches responsibility, okay, because again, you are giving $500 or however much you do give to establish a credit card and a credit limit, and the bank is entrusting you basically with your own money to pay it back. Another great thing is that since banks are not having to physically or actually give you credit from their own funds, and you're providing the funds to establish credit for, it's really a great way, and literally anybody can get it, because again, the bank isn't losing anything if you were to say use the whole credit limit and not pay it back, because they still do have your deposit, and they'll just use that to recoup any money that they would have lost if they didn't have the deposit. So that is a great way to establish credit, and you don't have to have credit history to get a secured credit card, because you are putting the money in to actually get the card. So the second way to establish credit, and then it's an easier way to do it, is to actually become an authorized user under somebody else's account. So for example, if you are, say, in high school or going off to college and you don't have any credit at all, what you can do is get somebody, so for example, say your parents, to make you their authorized user under their account. If your parents are good with their credit and their credit scores are good, that means they're good at paying back their own credit cards or paying back what they owe or their balances. It'll help your score, because it'll show that on your credit report you actually own some of the balance. Now, this is a great strategy for anybody who doesn't want to get a credit card yet, but still wants to build their credit. Okay, as long as you're with somebody who is good at managing their balances and paying them off in full every single month, this will really help you. Okay, and it also helps depending on how much the other person has as their credit limit, because if they have a high credit limit on your credit report, it'll also show that credit limit on your report. So for example, I was an authorized user under my dad. Okay, he has a Chase credit card, and with that card he has a $14,000 credit limit. Now, I don't have a $14,000 credit limit. My dad does, and anything that I were to use on his credit would then be, counted towards him. But as long as I paid him back as if he were the credit card and he put the money back in, helping him pay off his balance, it would help both of us. One, showing for him that he's already good at managing his balances, and two, because now on your credit report it shows that you're good at managing balances. So that's a win-win for both you and the other person, as long as you both are good at paying the balance off. Another option when it comes to establishing credit for anyone who doesn't have it, this is a great one for anyone going off to college, because sometimes banks will actually give you what's called a college credit card, specifically meant for people who are going to college or expected to go to college. I personally got a credit card from a bank because I was going to college. Okay, so I got that credit card. They gave me a credit. I didn't have to put down any deposit for it, but it is an option. It doesn't happen for everybody. It was an offer that I got in the mail. I submitted it because I did want a credit card, and I was able to get a credit limit of $500, which isn't bad. They're starting me off from really low because they don't know anything about my credit history or if I'm even good at managing my credit at all. So having a very low amount to handle is good, because it teaches responsibility. You don't have a lot of money to go splurge on anything and just blow the whole thing. $500 is not a lot of money, so it's not such a high risk for the bank. So if you do get a credit card offer in the mail for a college or for students, I would say to go ahead and go with the card, only if the terms are good. Okay, now not all the terms are going to be good, because since you have no credit history, the banks do have to they do in fact give you higher interest rates. Okay, but you shouldn't have to worry about the interest rate at all if you are paying the balances off in full each month. And now the last option on this list that I believe would be great ways to build credit would actually be to pull out an auto loan. Now, for anyone who is wary of getting an auto loan, that's understandable, but you don't have credit history. So how is an auto loan company gonna trust you with paying off the car? Well, with a car, something that you would use every day, especially going to work, going to class if you're in college or high school, and just driving anywhere. Okay, you have to maintain the car, so they see that as something you would be more willing to pay off, because if you don't pay it off, obviously the car is going to get repoed and it's going to be confiscated basically, and you won't have a car anymore. So it's very in your best interest for anybody, not just people who are trying to establish credit, to pay off a car loan. Now, the hard part about giving a car loan is that since you don't have any credit history, how are they going to trust you with this loan to pay it off? Because they don't know how good you are with your finances. Now, what you could do again is get somebody else to go ahead and become a co-signer, okay, or a co-lender. Now, what that means is they're basically signing off on the loan, saying that if you don't pay the balance, they will step in and help you pay for it when the time comes to pay it off each month. And it's very good to get with somebody who has a already good credit score and has a long credit history, or at least like I said, a good credit score. That way you get better terms, lower interest, and it basically comes out a lot better for you, because if the interest isn't so high, you get lower monthly payments as well. So that is another option. And if you do get an auto loan, don't go getting an Infinity or 2019 Infinity. Get something that is inexpensive, okay, something that you can pay off rather quickly, because you don't want to have an auto loan for forever, and something that is reliable, because you don't want to have to pay a car that breaks down all the time. Do your research, get a car that's good on gas, because that's another factor, good on reliability, and isn't too expensive. Okay, I can't stress that one enough. Don't get a car that's about $30,000 when you don't have $30,000. Okay? And again, if you do have a great co-signer with a great credit history, you know, the interest will not be as high, so you can pay off the car faster and then have an established credit on your credit history. And that is the 4 ways that you can build credit if you have no credit at all, or you want to even maybe try to improve your credit if you know, got a credit card at a younger age and you just blew all the money. You know, best way to do that would really be to pay off the balance. But these are other options that you can take as well. So if you guys liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, smash that like button for me, it really does help out. And also consider subscribing for more content. I do try to post weekly, so if you guys do like the channel, please go ahead and support it and really show love in the comments down below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.